So a lot of times we get questions about glitter, how to use glitter, troubleshooting glitter. So today I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways that you can use glitter, or things maybe that you've been struggling with, how to mix your glitters, what the right amounts are. So just some tips and tricks to make using glitter a little bit easier for you. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to show you is just how to mix your glitter. How much is the right amount, how much is too much, too little, so that way you can kind of get a feel for exactly how to mix your product. So I'm going to show you in clear acrylic, and I'm also going to show you with our clear gels. So let's start with our gels. You can start by using either your clear sculptor from the precision applicator tubes. It's a little bit of a thinner viscosity than what comes in the pots, so you can use that. But most of the time I actually like to use my Build or my Flex gel. Those are going to be a little bit thinner so that when you do add the glitter into it, it's going to thicken it up a little bit. And so if you do use the clear sculptor, it may get too thick. So let's start with our Build. So depending on how much you're wanting to use, take out that much from your container and place it on your mixing jar. Now, even if you're just doing one nail, I always recommend using a little bit more than what you think. So add a little bit more gel than what you think, because sometimes you may need a little bit more than what you thought you did. And it's better to have too much and be able to save it and put it in a container for later than having to remix halfway through an application. Okay, so I'm going to take a couple of my glitters. I'm using one from our Loom collection. This is our Canadian Blue. So this is a really bold, thick glitter, okay? And then we're also going to use Apple, and that's just a nice lighter glitter. So that's going to add just a little bit of dimension. Now, one of the biggest challenges people have is how much glitter do I add in? When you're working with gel, there's not really a ratio. You're just going to kind of eyeball it and see how it feels and how it moves for you. One thing you want to make sure you're not doing is adding too little glitter. So a lot of times people are concerned and they think, oh, I shouldn't add too much glitter, so they just sprinkle a little bit on there, okay? Now that's actually not nearly enough. So when I mix that together, do you see how it just kind of looks kind of like a little salt and pepper on the nail? What we want is more of a solid color. We want a really bold color. Even if I were to mix in my second color into that, just that little bit, okay? Mix that together, that's still going to just give us that salt and peppery kind of a look, okay? So when we're mixing glitter, you really want to pour out a good amount over the whole surface of that glitter, okay? And don't be shy about it. If you feel like you mix too much glitter in, you can always add more clear gel to it. So I'm going to add in my second color, okay? And then I'm going to start by just kind of pressing that glitter down into the gel. Okay, just give it a little bit of a start to grab in there, and then I'm just going to smear it across the tile. What you want to make sure that you're doing is smearing it so that you're pressing out any air bubbles. You don't want to be doing this. You don't want to be lifting your painting knife up and down, because what that's going to do is it's actually going to add air bubbles into the gel. So make sure that you're smoothing it out, and that's going to blend in, okay? So as I'm working, I'm also kind of feeling what the texture is. Does it feel like it's chunky? Does it feel like it's too thick? Does it feel like it's too runny? So just kind of figuring out what the right consistency is, okay? So this consistency is about where I like to work. You can see that once I kind of scrape it all together and press it down, you see it just kind of starts to soften a little bit. It'll just kind of start to relax. That's about the consistency that you want. Now, I do want to show you what happens if you add too much glitter. So say I mixed a lot of glitter in there, put a lot in there, put a lot of my second color in there, and I'm mixing it, and it just starts to feel kind of chunky, and you see how it's really sticking kind of just in chunks onto my spatula here? That's what happens when you mix too much, okay? I'm even going to over exaggerate this even more, just so you get a really good idea of how much is too much. Okay. So it almost feels like that glitter just doesn't want to mix in, and it's not spreading smoothly. Do you see how just kind of chunky and pokey it is around the edges? It's not coming together very well. And then also when I do bring that all back together, do you see how it just kind of stays there right in a blob? That's going to be too much glitter in there, okay? To fix that, it's okay, don't panic. I'm going to clean off my spatula, and I'm going to pick up a little bit more of either my build, or at this point you might even also add in some of the flex. Flex gel is going to be a little bit thinner even than the build, so that's going to thin out your product even more. So add a little bit of that and then keep mixing, and then that should bring it all together nicely. Now you can see how as I'm mixing it, it's just coming out nice and smooth. Okay. So I should just be able to, you see, I still have a little bit of kind of that kind of pokey stuff coming out there. I can go ahead and add just a little bit more, again, to thin it back down. Now something that I recommend, we recommend this with our base and our top coats, but I also recommend having a separate container of your gels that you mix your glitters from, because I don't know if you can see that or not, but even though I did clean off my spatula, I did get a little bit of glitter in there. So if I go to mix another color, I may end up taking a little bit of that out. So have a separate container for your glitter mixes. All right, so this actually came back together really nicely. It's coming together nice and smooth, and it's just slightly relaxing. So now I know that that's a good consistency, okay? When we're working with acrylics, okay, there can be a little bit more of a ratio or a recipe, if you will. So when you're mixing your acrylics, kind of a good ratio to think about is 3 to 1. 3 parts acrylic to 1 part glitter. Now, if you're somebody who's very particular and you're gonna be able to sit there and measure out your powders and your glitters, go ahead. If you have a scoop, a little spatula like that, you can do 3 scoops of acrylic, 1 scoop of glitter, okay? If you're using our mixing jars though, the best ratio is fill up to this top ridge of your jar with your clear, and then the rest of the way with your glitter. That way you're gonna have that 3 to 1 mix ratio, and you're not even gonna have to do any measuring. Okay, so I'm just gonna pour that into my container. And again, I'm just using Speed Clear. Speed Clear is one of the colors or the powders that I like to use most when I'm mixing glitter. That way my nail's gonna be nice and clear, and all I'm really gonna see is that glitter. So you can see I've mixed all the way up to that bottom ridge. Then I'm going to take my glitters, whatever glitter colors you like, and then just fill the rest of the way, leaving just a little bit of space at the top. That way when we go to shake it, it's going to be able to have that little bit of space where it's going to mix, and it's going to come together nice and evenly. Okay. So it looks like I've got about the right amount. I'm going to close up these glitters. I'm going to put my cap back on there, and then just give it a good roll between your hands, or shake it, however you want to mix that up. Give it a good shake. So again, 3 to 1 ratio, or fill to the bottom ridge of the jar with our clear acrylic, and then the rest of the way with glitter. Now this is going to give us a really nice solid glitter mix. So when I pick up my pearl, actually just set it down there, it's a good, nice, solid consistency for you, okay? So that's some tricks on mixing your glitters. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is doing a glitter press. And I have a lot of questions as to what gel polish do I need to use to do a glitter press. We have 2 different gel polish lines. We have our classic Manicure color, and that is a 3-step product. So it has your base coat, your color, and then your top coat. Our Go Time is a 1-step, so that has just the color. You don't need an extra base coat, and you don't need a top coat. When this one cures, it cures to a full shine, nothing to wipe off the surface, okay? So if you're doing a glitter press, you want to be using the manicure color. Let me show you what happens if you don't. Okay, so I'm going to do a coat of our manicure color, and I'm just using our black 101. Black is actually one of my favorite colors to do glitter presses with, because depending on what kind of glitter or what colors of glitter you use is going to really kind of make those glitters pop out. So I'm going to do one coat of my manicure color, and then I will do another one with our Go Time. And then I will show you what the difference is. We're going to go ahead and give these two both a full cure. So I'm going to cure them for 60 seconds, and then I'll show you how to do the glitter press. I'll go ahead and cure that for a full 60 seconds. So with our manicure color, that's going to have that tacky surface that we can do our glitter press into. The Go Time color has just that shiny surface. There's no tacky surface to worry about, but it's also not going to grab onto the glitter that you're trying to press in. So for example, I'm going to take a little bit of my glitter, I'm going to press that down in, and because I've got that tacky surface, I'll get really good full coverage of my glitter. Even when I brush over it, it's not going to pull my glitter off. That glitter is going to stay right where it is. Now because our Go Time doesn't have that tacky surface, what's going to happen, you're going to press your glitter on there, and when you go to wipe it off, you're not going to get that good even coverage. It may stick to parts of that nail, kind of like it did here, but you're not going to get that really good even coverage over the nail. So if you are going to do a Go Time color, let me just wipe this off really quick so I can show you. Okay. Give it just a quick buff. So if you are going to do a Go Time glitter press, so you want to use the Go Time color and then a glitter press over the top, what I would recommend doing, do your color and then come back in with your manicure base coat. So after you cure the color, do a coat of your base, cure that, and the base is going to have that tacky surface that you can press your glitter into. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cure that for 60 seconds. So now I can come back in, and that glitter's really going to adhere. Okay, so even when I do brush off, I'm going to get good, solid, even coverage over the whole nail. Go ahead and do 2 top coats over both of these, and you'll have your glitter press. Okay, so now I get a lot of questions of when to cap glitter and when to not cap glitter. Kind of a good rule of thumb is if you're going to file over the surface of it, cap it in clear. And what I mean by that is just doing a thin layer of your glitter acrylic and then putting a layer of the clear acrylic over the top of it. Otherwise, what can happen is some of the glitters are actually, if you think about it, it's a silver piece of glitter, but then it has a colored coating around it. So if you go to file that glitter, it's going to actually file off that colored coating. So what I've got here is actually a solid colored glitter that I mixed together, and I'm just going to go through and just file a little bit of that off. So if I were to try to do a solid nail and I'm filing, you can start to see little bits of that silver showing through. Okay, so I'm filing off all of that colored glitter. So if I were to cap that with a clear acrylic, I would seal in that glitter and I would file, and then I wouldn't get those little silver areas. Okay, so again, if you're going to file the surface of the nail, it's always best to cap and clear. All right, so we also get a lot of questions as to when I'm sugaring a nail, when do I dust off the extra glitter? Okay, so when you're doing your sugaring, you're going to use a tack-free top coat, and the one that we have is the Ultimate Finish Gel. And this is going to have a little bit of a thicker consistency to it, which is really good for doing sugaring because it's going to hold that glitter in and it's not going to release it. So you're going to have good coverage of your glitter. Okay, so I'm going to just brush that over the nail, and then I'm going to take my glitter and sprinkle it over the top. Okay, we're just going to give a good sprinkle. Make sure that you're kind of turning that finger on the side so that you get all the way down to the sides. Okay, turn back around. Okay, Now at this point, I like to angle the finger downward and just give it kind of a little bit of a tap. That way it's going to take off some of that extra, but then we'll brush it at the end. Okay? I like to come back through and check my edges just to make sure that I don't have any top coat around the edges. Okay? And then I would go ahead and put this into the light. Now, a lot of people ask, well, do I brush off the extra glitter now? The answer is no, because what's going to happen is if you go in and brush that, try to get all that extra glitter off, you're actually going to ding up your design and you're going to take that glitter off. Okay? So those are some tips and tricks that will hopefully help you use your glitters a little bit easier and get a lot better results.
If you liked what you just watched, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, or check out more of what we've got.